Can you hear me? That's fine. Okay, cool.
1, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we are good to go. So if you wouldn't mind finding a seat and we can kick off with our program. And let's start from the front. Dis nie die kerk nie. So let's fill up from the front and we'll kick off in the next minute or so. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you. And right at the outset, just an apology for starting a little bit late. Sorry, I'm late. That's how I found out I was going to be the dad to a daughter, actually, was my wife's words to me. I can't remember if I told this to you last year, but when my daughter was born, I wanted to call her Paris Zeta. But my wife pointed out that paracetamol is probably not a good name for a daughter. So her name is Rachel, but that's not how I wanted to begin today. I wanted to start by saying a very, very warm welcome this evening to the 8th SAMRC Scientific Merit Awards. Merit from the Latin word meritum, which is due reward, or in theology, apparently, merit refers to good deeds entitling someone to a future reward from God, which I think is kind of cool too tonight. It is a night in which we honor some of our country's brightest and best scientists and researchers and honor them and celebrate the work that they do, which is a testimony to really the ingenuity of South Africans. And we are an ingenious country. I think we've done a lot of firsts here. You know most of them. Creepy crawlies is a South African invention. I don't know if you knew that. Dulacre, or the Dollar oil from coal. Q20 is a South African invention, which is great. By the way, creepy crawlies, if you ever wanted to get your 10,000 steps a day, you put your little Fitbit onto your creepy crawly, and that's the best way to get 10,000 steps. I kid you not. But most of our firsts are, in fact, medical. We would know the first heart transplant, obviously, the CAT scan, the biomedical stem cell technology is South African, full body X-ray scanner, that's us too. There is the retinal cryoprobe, which revolutionized cataract surgery. That's all South African. Don't know if you know this, but we've done a lot of amazing medical firsts. The SmartLock safety syringe, that CDH2 killer heart gene, that's us. And most recently, the very first country to identify and sound the alarm bell for Omicron. So I think give yourselves a big round of applause. We are an amazing, ingenious country, and it's great to celebrate our scientists tonight. Another one of the great inventions we have in South Africa is a Nachi, by the way, with 40% alcohol content available at most rugby matches, a South African invention I particularly like. But the 8th Scientific Merit Awards, 8's a very, very special number in our family. My youngest was born on the 8th day of the 8th month in 2008 at 8 a.m. He's the 8th grandchild, 8 days before his dad. Lots of 8s. We called him the 8th one. No, we didn't. We called him Nathan, which is as close to the 8th one as we could. But he was the same kid that a few years ago I came home and he said, "Dad, I've taught the cat to whistle." And I said, "Nate, the cat is not whistling." He said, "Ah." I said, "I taught the cat to whistle. I didn't say he'd learned." I'm like, this kid gets outcomes-based education. But I tell you that story because scientific research is good, but we have to always ask ourselves the question, what is it good for? And that is what we're celebrating tonight, scientific rigor and research that really has made an impact on South Africans. And so we celebrate that tonight. The scientific breakthrough that's been accredited with saving most lives, that was interesting. I'm sure you guys know this. Synthetic fertilizers, there were 4, by the way, that saved over 1 billion lives. Synthetic fertilizers, blood transfusions, vaccines, and anyone? Toilets. The toilet is recognized as one of the greatest scientific breakthroughs. If you need the bathroom, ladies and gentlemen, how's that for a segue into bathrooms, into housekeeping? Just to my right, to your left are our bathrooms. There's a single door, but there are a number of bathrooms in there, so that's where you're welcome to go. We are going to ask that you don't eat at all during this next session of the program. We have a lovely dinner planned for you after that. We're going to be around, I guess, Glenda, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, we'll see, and then a lovely dinner awaits you. I do want to extend a special welcome, of course, to the board of the SAMRC that's here with us, to our president and CEO, Professor Glenda Gray. Great to have you. If we do have load shedding and the lights go off, just gather near to Glenda because she's just going to glow in the dress that she's wearing. So lovely to see that. And of course, an official welcome to all our winners, to our nominators, and all our viewers watching remotely from wherever they are in our country. Right now, though, it's not my place to do the official welcome. For that, I'd like to hand over to someone who was read many fairy tales as a child, very, very many fairy tales. Why do I know that? Well, Einstein said, if you want to have intelligent children, read them fairy tales. If you want very intelligent children, read them many fairy tales. Professor Glenda Gray, why don't you do the official welcome? Let's give her a round of applause. Thanks, Glenda.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone. So good evening and welcome. And this is our second hybrid MRC Scientific Awards. So I want to wave for all of you with COVID and are far away and can't be with us, and to acknowledge everybody is here. But first of all, I want to acknowledge our chair of the board, Professor Johnny Mashlongo. Where are you? I can't see you. Stand up. We've been in isolation for so long, and so I think it's nice for everyone to see the chair of our board and to see our board. I'm going to ask each of them to stand up as I call them out. Renal, I see you there. Okay, you never left your cell phone in the... No, that was Linda. Renal, lovely to see you. Colette, where's Colette? There you are. Colette, nice to see you. Tandisiwe? I know that Tandisiwe was running late. And probably will come on their way. Emmanuel? What happened to Emmanuel? Eunice? I saw Eunice. Well, there you are, Eunice. Linda. Linda's the person that left her cell phone behind and made this whole evening late. Lindiwe. Where's Lindiwe? Okay, she's also on her way. And then I also know that there are some past members of the board that might be stuck in lockdown in load for shedding, and that's Slim Karim and Croatia Karim. So I just want to acknowledge all of you, as well as the professors of medicine, the deans of faculty, Professor Lionel Green Thompson. Where are you now? Sitting with your nemesis, or have you moved from her? Alma Marie. Where's Alma Muller? You're not sitting together. Okay, there is are you with the Stellenbosch crowd there? Oh, okay. With Tulio, okay, and Jimmy. Okay, you see Lionel, she's abandoned you. I also want to acknowledge the recipients of the Scientific Merit Awards and their families and friends. We really like to have you here. Also, I want to acknowledge the MRC EMC, and we have Mongezi stand up. We have Michelle. Where's Nick? Nick there. MZ, where's MZ? There's MZ. Ntoza, where's Ntoza? Okay, I can't see her. And then our newest person who's on the EMC is Liesel, our new vice president, but she had booked to go on the Otter Trail, and she had to juggle between coming to this event and the Otter Trail, and seeing that you have to book for 18 months in advance, we said to her she should do the Otter Trail. So acknowledge her, and you'll see her next year. So welcome to our 8th Scientific Merit Awards. And these awards were reignited post the revitalization of the MRC. During the COVID pandemic, we have shifted to hosting these as hybrid events with a handful of people in attendance and the rest virtual. Hopefully we can go back to our regular gala next year. And we're going to have to invite our board back again so they can celebrate another gala with us. So maybe we can postpone the new board for a year, Johnny, and after the next gala. Okay, well, I think that would be a good idea. So the MRC strongly supports excellence in health research. We've established a set of medal awards to recognize world-class science. Recipients of these awards are among South Africa's most prestigious scientists who've made significant contribution to the health of the nation. And the ones that we're going to be awarding today, we want to pay a special tribute to, but there are a lot of other people, beneficiaries of previous awards that are here today to celebrate with everybody here today. So it's great to have you all. Linda Gale, I see you here. She slipped away somewhere. There she is. And also a previous recipient of the awards. So these awards have been made through an open nomination process. So everybody gets nominated and we get adjudicated by an independent panel. And there is one person that has fidelity to the process, and that's our longest standing member, Professor Valerie Caulfield. I saw you. Where are you? There she is. Now, she is insufferable when it comes to the adjudication process. She comes and she opens up these reams of Excel spreadsheets and computers and things on serviettes, and she profiles everybody, and she goes and does extra work, and she comes and if you pass, Valerie Caulfield, you are a deserving scientist in this country. So I want to acknowledge her. Let's give her a hand of applause. Thank you, Valerie. And we're going to count on you every year. That's how I'm acknowledging you. So I can call you in next year. Thanks. So scientists are an interesting breed of people. Okay, they are creative, they're adventurers, they're critical, and they're quite pragmatic. They push boundaries. This may not be the initial subset of people you would look to for inspiration. Would you, scientists? Inspiring? Yawn. You wouldn't normally look at them. However, I think the past 2 years have taught us that actually scientists can be a great source of inspiration. And if there's any people that have inspired us in the last 2 years, it have been our scientists. Our Ministerial Advisory Committee, our vaccine scientists, our therapeutic scientists. Everybody has put their they've put their nose. What is that? What is this? I can't even think of it. Anyway, they've got their act together and they've worked together to actually try and find solutions. And so I want to acknowledge all the scientists because I think they can be a great source of inspiration. Think for an instant of the motivation required to tackle the great intellectual challenges of our times. Scientists are driven by constant curiosity and are inspired to find solutions. And tonight, this is the night that we acknowledge scientists. Tonight we celebrate them, and this night is for them. So I want to thank you all for coming and to celebrate our scientists in South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Glenda. I wanted to say you look like you're handing out Oscars, and this really is the Oscars for the scientific community. But I also wanted to say you look like an Oscar standing in that beautiful gold dress. So thank you so much. It's lovely to see the presidency of the SAMRC just call people out by first names. I love that. So Glenda, thank you so much for that welcome and that introduction. If you get asked by anyone, if you are a winner tonight, what were the criteria for winning? Remember to say things on serviettes, because that's an important criteria. I don't know what things on serviettes are, but clearly that's very, very important too. And I need to say too about Almi, I haven't seen Almi in about 30 years. We were last in class together. So Almi, it's so good to see you again this evening. Very, very cool. She's my daughter's dean at the moment. And then what you said last, and it really struck me. If you look at school kids, or if you listen to school kids today, when they write letters of thank you, it's so often to firemen or to policemen. But in the last 2 years, the thank you letters from school kids have gone to scientists, the new rock stars in kids' eyes. And I really think that's significant because of what you've done for this world together and how you've come together to do that. So we salute you, we celebrate you, and that's what tonight is all about. We're going to kick off with our Silver Awards. As Glenda pointed out, the SMRC is all about making sure the next generation of scientists are being pulled through the system, and so that's what the Silver Awards are about, really given to upcoming scientists and those committed to capacity development. I'm going to ask Dr. Mgezi, in fact, I said I wouldn't say this, maybe I shouldn't say it, but he's going to be riding the Cape Town Cycle Tour on Sunday, and just kind of send good vibes, because I think he's going to do a 3:15 on Sunday. It's good weather, and so ask him when you see him again, what was your time for your cycle tour? But Dr. Mgezi, why don't you join me on stage to hand over the Silver Awards. Let's give him a round of applause as he does that. You are mic'd up. Do you want to say one or two words, or should we just get on with the program?
No, I think you can get on.
Oh, we get straight right. Well, let's get straight into our first silver medal winner tonight. So these are not nominees; these are winners. The process is going to work like this. I'll announce the silver medal winner. We're going to see a 2 to 3 minute video on the winner. I was going to say the screen's not there; the screens are there. And once that video is over, I'm going to ask that winner to come on stage and receive the trophy. So up front, Diane Gray, Professor Diane Gray, congratulations. Don't get up just yet. Join us on stage in a moment. But this is our first silver medal winner, Professor Diane Gray.
Associate Professor Diane Gray is a consultant pediatric pulmonologist and clinical scientist in the Department of Pediatrics and Child Health at the Red Cross War Memorial Children's Hospital at the University of Cape Town. She currently holds a Wellcome Trust Intermediate Fellowship for research into the early determinants of chronic respiratory illness in African children. Dr. Gray's clinical research focuses on high-burden pediatric diseases, including TB prevention in children living with HIV. HIV-associated lung disease, early life determinants of chronic respiratory illness, and the development of lung function as a diagnostic and management tool in childhood. Her work includes setting up the first African infant and preschool lung function laboratory on the Drakenstein Child Health Study, an African birth cohort. This work has identified several novel antenatal and early life factors impacting healthy lung growth, many open to public health interventions. She has been actively involved in developing lung function tools locally and regionally, and contributes to international working groups in infant and preschool lung function. This has led to the strengthening of clinical respiratory physiology and teaching nationally, improving the quality of respiratory care provided and strengthening child respiratory health research. She plays a key role in developing African clinical scholarship through supervision, advocacy, and leadership. She is no stranger to the scientific red carpet. In 2017, she was awarded the South African Thoracic Society Best Publication Award, and a year before that she was awarded the University of Cape Town Faculty of Health Sciences Best Publication Award, Postgraduate Clinical Sciences. She won the Best Research Presentation at 2015 South African Thoracic Society Congress. She was recipient of the Thresher Early Career Development Award in 2012-2013. Other awards include the Discovery Foundation Academic Award 2010-2011 and the Discovery Foundation Sub-Specialist Award in 2010. Speaking of a relationship with the South African Medical Research Council, she says she's a previous recipient of a South African Medical Research Council Research Fellowship, which supported research into TB preventative therapy in children living with HIV, which gave her the opportunity to develop a strong research foundation as a clinician scientist. She is also an investigator in the SAMRC unit on child and adolescent health, University of Cape Town, which has afforded her an opportunity to undertake research into strengthening child respiratory health and support other students and junior researchers. Her qualifications include an MPCHB, Fellow of the Royal Australasian College of Physicians, Pediatrics, MPhil Pediatric Pulmonology, PhD in Pediatric Pulmonology.
Would you please give a round of applause to Diane Gray? Thank you, Diane. Won't you join us on stage? I could see you wringing his hands going, oh, cringe. But congratulations. Brilliant. Brilliant. We've asked Diane just to say a few words, as we have all our winners. I know in years gone by, the Oscars promised Oscar winners, I think, a flat screen TV if they spoke for less than 30 seconds. We've got 10 winners tonight. I don't think we've quite got 10 flat screen TVs up, but you never know. So, but Diane, no 30-second limit, but we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Okay, well, thank you very much to the SAMRC. It is extremely humbling to get an award like this, and I know I received this on behalf of a very big team of people who are passionate about strengthening child health. I really want to acknowledge the amazing giants that have afforded me opportunities, mentored and supported me, and in particular them and other colleagues who have not only imagined but have made real a research story that is more creative and empowered. And I think that we also know that no research happens without funding, and it highlights the critical role the South African MRC plays in capacitating South African researchers to do work that is responsive and contextual to the African continent. So I also want to mostly thank my inspirational support, David, Nate, and Ben.
Thank you so much, Diane. And if you notice close up, she wears the African continent close to her heart, which is wonderful. Our next Silver Award winner, ladies and gentlemen, you can give her a round of applause. She's not going to come up, but please put your hands together for Dr. Rabia Johnson.
If perseverance is the mother of success was a person, then Professor Rabia Johnson would probably be that person. Having joined the South African Medical Research Council in 2009 as a junior scientist, it has become very clear that Professor Johnson does not work for recognition, but conducts work that is worthy of recognition. It is with this mindset that she has been able to grow in leaps and bounds through the ranks at the SAMRC, while also positioning herself as an established researcher in the field of non-communicable diseases. Today, she's an NRFC-rated researcher who holds a PhD degree as well as a BA Honours degree in Business Management and occupies the position of Co-Deputy Director at the Biomedical Research and Innovation Platform. In addition to her undoubtable hard work and dedication, she also attributes this achievement to the South African Medical Research Council's Accelerated Development Program. The program develops employees to be competent in their current positions and to prepare them for future leadership positions as unit directors, support business leaders and or division managers or executive directors of the SMRC's divisions. Professor Johnson leads the cardiometabolism group within the Biomedical Research and Innovation Platform. Despite having a plethora of treatment options available, diabetes and hypertension continue to be the leading cause of cardiovascular-related deaths worldwide. Hence, her research group focuses on understanding and delineating insults such as doxorubicin-induced toxicity, diabetes and hypertension effects on the cardiovascular system. Understanding disease physiology will unravel novel biomarkers capable of predicting disease risk and investigating the therapeutic potential of indigenous plant extracts against these conditions. This is especially important in the African population with its resource-constrained settings. Also using her molecular background, Professor Johnson was instrumental in the SMRC COVID-19 wastewater surveillance program, where she was able to detect, quantify, and identify variants of concern circulating within the community. She was also involved in the expansion of the molecular program nationwide to other institutions and research centers. In order to advance her work, she has also received various research grants, including the NRF Competitive Support for Rated Researchers, the NRF Tutuka Award, the SMRC Early Career Fellowship, Department of Science and Innovation, Pharmacogenomics in Precision Medicine, and the South African Rooibos Council funding. Passionate about capacity development, Professor Johnson has over the last decade effectively transferred knowledge which contributes to scientific and professional development of young researchers under her supervision.
Won't you give her a big round of applause? Professor Johnson, congratulations. A worthy Silver Award winner. And I wonder if, as Professor Johnson addresses us, if she's going to use her hands as much as she did in the video. It wasn't lovely to see how she spoke with her hands. All yours, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Can I put this down?
Yeah.
There we go. How's that?
So,
If you get really close.
there we go. Thank you very much. I would first and foremost, I would like to thank the SAMRC for awarding me this award. But this is actually teamwork. So I'm taking one for the team, because in science you can't do anything alone. It's all about the team and the team behind you. So thank you very much for my team and for the BRIP team for making my life easier by loving science, doing science, and by doing that, like I said, my job is easier. I would also like to say thank you to SAMRC and the board for allowing this opportunity. And MRC is a place of opportunities. And my mentor, Johan Lowe and Krista Miller, thank you very much. They always say, you can stand on the sideline and miss the bus, or you get onto the bus and come join the journey with us. So thank you very much. Sometimes you think, is Johan worse, or my mom worse, or Krista worse, because they're pushing you, they're pushing the boundaries, and they're saying you can do something, and sometimes you're like, can I really do this? And at the end, you see, you can actually do it. So really, thank you very much for that. And then to my husband and my son, thank you very much for allowing me to travel for work, for allowing me to mark the student thesis late at night and sitting with the grants and not saying anything, and then you still cook. So thank you very much, Mom, and Emasha, and everybody else. And sis, see you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Professor Johnson. That was lovely. And did you see how the trophy got put into the other hand? So she could speak with the hand, which is wonderful. So congratulations. Our third Silver Award winner this evening, ladies and gentlemen, in our 8th SAMRC Scientific Merit Awards goes to Professor Marlo Moller.
Professor Marlo Muller is a research scientist, professor and head of the TB host genetics group within the Division of Molecular Biology and Human Genetics at Stellenbosch University. Her primary research focuses on finding the human genetic underpinnings of infectious diseases, especially TB. Major research topics include common genetic variants that predispose the general population to pulmonary TB, individuals that display extreme forms of TB resistance, and SARS susceptibility, specifically resistors, TB meningitis, and primary immunology deficiencies, human population genetics, animal genetics, as well as functional studies in these contexts. Other scientific interests include the development of genetic resources, such as reference genomes and allele frequency databases for Southern African populations. Over the years, the NRF C-rated researcher has won several awards, including the NRF Research Career Award and the Stellenbosch University's Rector's Award for General Performance. Her qualifications include a PhD in Medical Biochemistry, BSc Honours in Medical Biochemistry cum laude, BSc in Molecular and Cellular Biology. She also completed a program for the development of leadership and team skills in NQF Level 5. She says her relationship with the South African Medical Research Council is a long-standing one dating from her postgraduate studies. She attributes her successful research in part to the SAMRC, saying that without the bursary she received from the SAMRC, she would not have been able to complete her degrees. She is currently a member of the SAMRC Center for TB Research.
Congratulations, Marlo. Let's keep applauding until she gets to the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Well done, Prof. That's fantastic. All in the genes.
It's okay, I brought crypt notes because I get very nervous, and then Rabia stole part of my speech, so it's okay. So I would like to thank the many students, the postdoctoral fellows, the colleagues, the collaborators, the mentors, the Division of Molecular Biology and the Center for TB Research, and then most importantly my family for contributing to my scientific career. And as Rabia pointed out, research is very much a team effort, and I'm so privileged to accept this award on behalf of the TB Research Host Genetics Research Group. And then lastly, we celebrate World TB Day on 24th of March of this month, and the theme is Invest to End TB and Save Lives. So we have to invest resources to ramp up the fight against this really terrible disease, to achieve the commitments that global leaders made to end this pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marlo. That's wonderful. There is no I in team. There is in silver, though. Hey? No, no one got that. Okay, leave that out, Michael. Our fourth and final silver award winner this evening, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Nishita Peer.
A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, resonates with Dr. Nishita Peer. What she simply recalls as being a chance viewing of a vacancy by the South African Medical Research Council back in 2004, and applying for it led her to the world of research and unlocked her potential as a scientist. At the time, the organization was looking to appoint a clinician to conduct cardiovascular disease research. But fast forward from that day, she has a different story to tell. She describes the past 18 years at the SAMRC to be the most fulfilling in her career. But who is Dr. Peer? A NRF C1 rated scientist, Dr. Peer is a senior specialist scientist with the Non-Communicable Diseases Research Unit, also called the NCDs Research Unit of the SAMRC. She conducts research on NCDs epidemiology, focusing on cardiovascular and cardiometabolic diseases. Her area of expertise includes diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia, obesity, and tobacco smoking. She's also Associate Professor at the Department of Medicine, Faculty of Health Sciences, University of Cape Town, UCT, and Associate Editor for the BMC Public Health, as well as Academic Editor for the PLOS Global Public Health. Her contributions to research has led to a number of accolades, including the recipient of the Best Publication in Diabetes Award presented by the Society for Endocrinology, Metabolism and Diabetes of South Africa in 2013 and 2015, and an award in the International Society of Hypertension New Investigator Oral Presentation category in 2021. Even with a busy schedule, she managed to receive distinctions for her MPH and MBA dissertations. The qualifications include MBCHB, University of Natal, a MBA, Master of Public Health, and PhD from the University of Cape Town.
Congratulations, Dr. Peer. Our lady in red tonight. There is no peer to Dr. Peer. Won't you give another round of applause as she comes on the stage, ladies and gentlemen? Congratulations, our final Silver Award winner tonight. Well done, Ashita. Correct.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I would like to start by thanking the SAMRC for all the opportunities they've given me. I'd like to thank my director, Andre Pascal Kenge, for all the support and encouragement he's always there for. And I'd like to thank my parents for the woman I've become today. My mother and late father always emphasized education, perseverance, and independence. And I'd like to thank my siblings and my long-suffering husband for his wise counsel and for being my best friend. Thank you, everyone.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Nishita. That's special. And thanks, Dr. Mgezi. I think the theme of all those kind of messages was persistence and perseverance, and that's the word for Sunday. So have a good race. Thank you for your presence here this evening. Let's give him a round of applause, Dr. Mgezi Mgluli, the Chief Research Operations Officer. Right now we're going to move into our gold awards, ladies and gentlemen. Glenda, if you would, again, that dress is just the perfect dress for the gold awards, but won't you please join us on stage as the CEO of the SMRC to do that. Gold medals, ladies and gentlemen, are awarded annually to established senior scientists who've made seminal scientific contributions that have impacted on the health of people, especially those living in developed countries. Our first gold award winner this evening is Professor Tulio de Oliveira.
An attempt in 2022 to describe Professor Tulio de Oliveira in one sentence would probably read something like, the man who facilitated the identification of the SARS-CoV-2 variants of concern, both the Beta and the Omicron in South Africa. But for a world-renowned bioinformatics scientist with over 20 years experience working and conducting clinic-based, population-based research, the description does not even begin to scratch the surface to capture his journey. Professor Tulio de Oliveira's journey began when he received his BSc at the Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil, followed by an MSc and PhD at the Nelson Mandela R. Mandela School of Medicine at UKZN in South Africa. He was a research fellow at the University of Oxford in the UK from 2004 to 2006 and a Newton Advanced Fellow at the Wellcome Trust Sanger Institute at the University of Edinburgh from 2015 to 2019. In 2015, he became a professor in the School of Laboratory Medicine and Medical Sciences, College of Health Sciences, University of KwaZulu-Natal, UKZN. And in 2018, an associate professor in global health at the University of Washington in Seattle in the United States. Professor de Oliveira wears different leadership hats at different times and places, including, but not limited to, Professor of Bioinformatics, School for Data Science and Computational Thinking, Faculty of Science and Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences at Stellenbosch University, and Director of the newly established Center for Epidemics Response and Innovation, CERI, which is also housed at the same university. He's the Director of the KwaZulu-Natal Research Innovation and Sequencing Platform, and a Senior Research Associate at the Center for the AIDS Program of Research in South Africa, CAPRISA. Both these are close associate organizations of the South African Medical Research Council that are based in Durban, South Africa. Throughout his career, Professor de Oliveira has worked with viral outbreaks including HIV, hepatitis B and C, SARS-CoV-2, Zika and yellow fever virus. Professor de Oliveira has more than 150 publications with many of them in top scientific journals such as Nature, Science and Lancet. Most recently, Professor De Oliveira has cemented his place as one of the top scientists in the forefront of the country's fight against COVID-19. He collaborated with leading research organizations to create the Network for Genomic Surveillance in South Africa. This was funded largely by the South African Medical Research Council, along with the Department of Science and Innovation, to respond to the pandemic. Professor De Oliveira has a long-standing relationship that spans about 15 years with the South African Medical Research Council. All his bioinformatics servers are housed at the SAMRC. He has been the recipient of several SAMRC grants, including the 5-year flagship program grant to understand the causes and consequences of HIV transmission.
If you take a closer look as our prof comes up on stage, if any of you have ever seen the real Patch Adams, there's quite a look-alike here, and that's a compliment, Prof. So congratulations. Let's give him another round of applause as he gets those photographs done. Our first Gold Award winner tonight.
Okay, thank you. The thing that I love the most is that Glenda and I, we look very goldly tonight. Thank you for dressing for that occasion. And of course, it's a great pleasure to be here, and it's especially at this moment. We recently just relocated from KwaZulu-Natal, where it rains every day in the summer, to here that never rains. Yeah, so we are just at Stellenbosch University, and what we are trying to do together with the MRC is to really create a center for epidemic response and innovation that really can challenge the status quo and really make Africa and South Africa to lead in science. Yeah. So the last 2 years were something, I was even joking before, it felt like a blur, like when you have little children, you barely remember what happened, was very busy, but was very exciting to really see how South Africa came together to really almost like lead the world in scientific research. Yeah. So it has been very exciting, so I'm very proud about this award. But then, of course, that's not only me, and I have to thank a lot of people. I can start with my beautiful wife, Astrid, yeah, and also the MRC. Yeah. I have a very good friend in the back there, Patrick Charles. He supported us for 23 years running our bioinformatics servers. Yeah. Yes, yes, and sorry, and he doesn't charge us, but don't tell Glenda, okay? And then I have one of my great mentors, Salima Bedu Karim, yeah, and also a very good friend, Koleka Milsana, that's also getting the big presidential award. And I work with most of you, so it's a great pleasure to be here. And thank you so much for the recognition. But this is just the beginning. Yeah, I think that South Africa is going to continue really leading the world in infectious disease. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Tulio. I don't know about you, but I remember professors being old and grey, and they just aren't like that anymore. You know, all the professors that have come up are just young and... Well, there you go. Yeah, and we have Tobeka joining us sort of virtually but live. Let me announce our next Gold Award winner. You see him on screen, Professor Tobeka Ntuzi. Congratulations. This is his story.
Professor Ntobeka Ntuzi is a cardiologist, a professor of medicine, and is the chair and head of medicine at the University of Cape Town, UCT, and Groote Schuur Hospital, and is the clinical lead for cardiovascular magnetic resonance, CMR, at UCT and Groote Schuur. He is also principal investigator based at the Hatta Institute for Cardiovascular Research in Africa and the Cape University's Body Imaging Center. He obtained a BSc Honours degree in Cellular and Molecular Biology from Haverford College at the United States and an MB-CHB degree from UCT. He served his internship and later worked as a community service medical officer and senior house officer at Freya Hospital in East London. He then completed a fellowship in internal medicine and a certificate in cardiology through the Colleges of Medicine of South Africa. He read for a DPhil in cardiovascular medicine at the University of Oxford and completed his MD in cardiology at UCT. He has extensive experience with basic science, translational and clinical research, and currently supervises postgraduate students and is conducting several single and multi-center mechanistic studies which are mostly CMR based. Through his research, Professor Ntusi has built strong links with colleagues in clinical cardiology, physics and biomedical engineering, HIV medicine, rheumatology, immunology, molecular genetics and biomedical statistics. He has been actively engaged and contributed to improved understanding of heart failure and cardiomyopathy, inflammatory heart disease, and application of molecular biology and advanced cardiovascular imaging techniques to the study of cardiovascular phenotypes and disease mechanisms in South Africa and globally. His key contributions include description of the clinical features, outcomes, and genetic underpinnings of different forms of cardiomyopathy in South Africa, description of novel applications of cardiovascular magnetic resonance in the study of cardiovascular disease, description of the cardiovascular phenotype of pathophysiology of autoimmune forms of inflammatory heart disease with cardiovascular magnetic resonance. First, description of utility of cardiovascular magnetic resonance to delineate the phenotype of cardiovascular involvement in HIV-infected persons. Multiple reports on the study of myocardial fibrosis, infiltration, and inflammation in different clinical contexts. Some of these awards and accolades include membership of Academy of Science of South Africa, induction into the University of Cape Town College of Fellows, fellowship of the Royal College of Physicians in London, fellowship of the Royal Society of South Africa, the Walter Siegenthaler Medal from the University of Missouri.
Congratulations, Prof. I'm not sure if you could hear the applause, but there was lots of applause for you this evening. I'm not sure if you are, in fact, at the foot of Jammy Steps, but I'm not sure where you are, but congratulations. Lovely. Great for you to join us virtually. The stage is yours. We can hear you and see you.
Thanks, Michael. Can you hear me?
We can.
Wonderful. So I'm honored to be a recipient of this year's Gold Medal Award from the South African MRC, one of the premier scholastic awards in this country, and from the premier scientific council in this country. And for a clinician scientist, there can be no greater praise than the recognition and affirmation from one's peers. My great sadness, of course, is that I'm not able to be with you in person today. I've been looking forward to this evening for some time. And to paraphrase my great friend, Professor Valerie Mizrahi, it's amazing that a virus with so few genes can cause so much suffering. Of course, an award like this never reflects on the efforts of a single scientist. First, I wish to acknowledge my parents, Dr. Thembeka Mphago Ntusi and Mr. Bubele Jamba Ntusi, who sacrificed so much so that I can be where I am today. I also wish to thank my daughter Mila, who is my biggest fan. Second, much of our many publications from our group reflect the work of my students, postdoctoral fellows, junior research fellows, and collaborators both in this country and globally. I thank each one of them for their contribution to the body of work that has been worthy of this recognition. And third, as with any scientist, I have a few mentors who provided great wisdom at every stage of my career and to whom I owe a great intellectual debt. In no order of importance, these include Emeritus Professor Janet Segi, Emeritus Professor Monica Ferreira, and Emeritus Professor Patrick, instrumental in my formative years. The late Professor Bongani Mayosi, who supervised my first doctorate, and Professors Theodoros Karamitsos and Stefan Ribauer, supervisors for my second doctorate. And finally, Professor Valerie Mizrahi, who has been a tremendous source of support and friendship in the last 5 years. I also wish to acknowledge my colleagues in the Department of Medicine at the University of Cape Town and Groote Hospital and the UCT Faculty of Health Sciences. I'm privileged to work with fine women and men who make up the Department of Medicine, all of whom are committed to providing the best clinical care to their patients, to producing competent doctors and specialists, and to conducting research as good as any in the world. And lastly, It's my sincere hope that this recognition will serve as an inspiration, not only for my daughter, but to countless South African children who come from backgrounds like mine and to whom I dedicate this award to. Finally, I'm tremendously grateful to the SAMRC for this recognition and for the ongoing grant support. Over to you, Michael.
Great. Thank you so much, Prof. Ntuzi, and thank you for those beautiful words. We wish you a very speedy recovery. I think you've heard it said that the definition of a gentleman is someone who wears their napkin when they're eating alone. I think we should extend that to a gentleman who wears a tuxedo and a bow tie when he's on a Zoom call. So thank you so much for joining us virtually. And as I said, speedy recovery.
Thank you.
Our third gold award winner tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Grant Theron.
Professor Grant Theron is a professor of molecular biology and human genetics at the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences at Stellenbosch University. He is also a member of the DST-NRF Center for Excellence in TB Research and the South African Medical Research Council Center for TB Research, both of which are embedded within Stellenbosch University. His core research interests are the design and field evaluation of improved diagnostics for TB and drug resistance, the transmission and aerobiology of TB, including drug-resistant TB, and most recently, the microbiome in the context of TB. Professor Theron has a record of accomplishments of recruiting TB patients in Africa for high-impact clinical trials. He has led several projects on TB diagnostics, which have measured their impact on long-term patient outcomes. He has held a training fellowship in public health and tropical medicine from the Moroccan Trust. He is a European and Developing Countries Clinical Trial Partnership Senior Fellow and holds a Newton Advanced Fellowship from the British Royal Society. In a relatively short period, he has published about 60 papers in international peer-reviewed journals and has registered 1 patent. He holds a P rating from the NRF, or the National Research Foundation, the highest rating available to researchers under 35. His sterling work has attracted international recognition and awards, including the Gertrude Meisner Award by the European Society of Mycobacteriology in 2019, the T.W. Kambule Emerging Research Award by the NSTF BHP Bulletin in 2015, a Merit Award from the Claude Lyon Foundation in 2015, a Mary Node Medal in recognition of outstanding early career contributions to the furtherance of science by the Royal Society of South Africa in 2014, a Young Investigator Prize from the International Union Against TB and Lung Disease in 2014. Professor Theron is a member of various local and international organizations, to mention a few. He is a member of the American Society of Microbiology, the Scientific Advisory Committee for Identifying Men's Preference for Male-Centered TB Care Intervention, the Scientific Advisory Committee Gene Expert Omni Evaluation Trials Foundation for New and Innovative Diagnostics, the European Society for Mycobacteriology, member of the Scientific Advisory Committee TB Omics Research CH.
Congratulations, Grant. Thank you so much. Another young professor. I apologize for mispronouncing your surname as Theron. It's Theron, according to Charlize and the world over. But let's give Professor Theron or Theron a big round of applause. This Theron, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll hold this for you while you talk.
Thank you. Yeah, so, I mean, huge thanks to the South African MRC as well as the board. It's also an honor to be standing next to a former host of Top Billing.
Yeah.
I remember sitting on my parents' living room floor watching many episodes on weeknights. But it's a cliche, you know, it really is on behalf of a slightly eccentric and dysfunctional family, which is my team, that I am accepting this award on behalf. Also to my beautiful partner and Karen, my beautiful partner Karen, and our 7-month-old Frankie, who's at home with grandma. Thank you for pulling me away when I need to be pulled away. Huge thanks to the leadership at Stellenbosch University, especially Professor Robin Warren, who is head of the TB Center there, as well as Professor Gerhard Walsel and the leadership of the deanery, both present and current. And finally, I would like to thank myself, as well as the other awardees, because it's been a really hard couple of years to be a scientist, especially when your research is COVID adjacent and not on COVID. I remember when Tulio used to do TB research. I hope he comes back to that fold. We definitely need him. But in all sincerity, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grant. I think chat to Linda Gale Becker. She had a similar experience many, many years ago, didn't you, Linda? But Grant Ron, congratulations, our third Gold Award winner, and lovely to mention the fact that team and family are synonymous. I like that comment. Our final Gold Award winner tonight, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately in the USA, but I see he's joined us virtually, which is fantastic. I'm going to ask you what time it is in a moment, but this is Professor Ambrose Wankum's story.
Professor Ambrose Wankum is Director of GeneMap, Genetic Medicine of African Populations, at the Faculty of Health Sciences, University of Cape Town, and also Professor of Genetic Medicine and Director of McKusick Nathans Institute, Department of Genetic Medicine, Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, Baltimore in the United States. After his MD training from the Faculty of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences, University of Yaoundé in Cameroon, he completed a dissertation in medicine, medical sciences at the University of Geneva, Switzerland, and a PhD in human genetics, University of Cape Town, South Africa. Professor Wankum also trains as a specialist medical geneticist at the University of Geneva. He subsequently practices medical genetics in both European and African contexts. His research interests are reflected in more than 180 peer-reviewed publications. His research focuses on genomic modifiers of sickle cell disease, genetics of hearing loss, and ethical and educational issues in human genetics in Africa. Professor Wankum has led successfully over the past 10 years numerous NIH and Wellcome Trust funded projects accounting for about 20 million USD to pursue research studies in various countries in Africa: Tanzania, Cameroon, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Uganda, Mali, Sudan, Rwanda, and Ghana. Those are just some of those countries. Professor Wankum is President of African Society of Human Genetics, Chair of the Steering Committee of H3 Africa Consortium, Board Member of the International Federation of Human Genetics Societies, Steering Committees members of the Global Genetic Medicine Collaborative, Faculty Scholar of the Human Genome Organization. He won the very competitive Clinical Genetics Society International Award in 2014 from the British Society of Genetic Medicine, and the 2021 Ellen Pfeiffer Award, which honors a UCT researcher whose outreach work has contributed to the advancement and welfare of South Africa's disadvantaged people. He has previously been funded by the SAMRC through the Self-Initiated Grant Program.
I see a smile creeping across your face, Prof. Wankum. I hope that means you can hear the applause. I'm gathering your son has just stepped onto stage to accept the award, a young Malcolm X, but I'm not sure if you want to. We can hear you. You haven't said anything yet. Maybe you can tell us what time it is.
I can hear you very well, thank you.
Brilliant. And we can hear you too. If you're on the West Coast, it's 6:30 in the morning. On the East Coast, it's probably a little closer to tea time. So maybe it's let us know what time it is, but we'd love to hear what you have to say as your son accepts the award. We're all ears, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much for the award. I'm really grateful for this recognition. I'm grateful, first of all, to my parents, my late parents, that are not here today, but I always remember their wisdom. I will trust my beautiful wife sitting in the first row there, representing me and my son Orances, and for her love, for her dedication, for her sacrifice, for being a good friend, a good partner, and to have always made our domestic arrangement suitable for the research enterprise that I have performed so far. I would like to thank people that welcome me open hands in South Africa. First of all those that sacrificed their life to make life acceptable for everyone, including African people in South Africa. I would like to thank late Professor Bongai Mausi, Professor Raj Ramasar, Professor Mariam Jacobs, that actually made everything possible for me to settle in South Africa for the past 13 years of my life until recently. I would like to thank the South African Medical Research Council for initiating some of the work that we've done, specifically the work on hearing loss. I'm pleased to tell you that we will be publishing in a few days a paper where we have discovered 7 origins of hearing impairment in a single country in Africa. That will never happen without the catalytic grant provided by the SAMRC, and of course it's a pleasure to see Professor Glenda on the stage. We have been meeting in many other stage recently to advocate for genetic medicine to be made possible for all people on the country, on the world, specific for people of African ancestry. I'm just the messenger of my student, the messenger of many collaborators across Africa, the messenger of many patient support groups that provided the community that we have worked with over the past year, and I'm grateful for our ancestors. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. Sure. Prof, thank you very, very much. You didn't tell us what time it is.
Exactly 11:48 a.m.
All right. That's not too bad. Thank you for joining us, and Godspeed. Yep, lovely to have your family with us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, those were our Gold Awards. We're going to move on to our Platinum Award this evening. Professor Johnny Mahlangu, if you wouldn't mind coming up on stage to hand over that award, the chairperson of the SAMRC. And I think, Prof, if you wouldn't mind just saying a few words on behalf of the board. I know I'm springing this on you. But as you do, I'm going to talk a bit about the Platinum Award. So you have about 30 seconds to think about something. But to tell you about the Platinum Award, ladies and gentlemen, these are awarded to scientists each year for a lifetime of outstanding endeavors in the field of health. We have a trailblazer, and if you've had a look at your menu, your program tonight, you'll know who that is. But before we announce that, Prof. Mahlangu, I'm going to give the stage to you, if I may.
Thank you very much, and good evening, colleagues. Yeah, it is a spring on me. I just want to thank all of you for taking time to come and celebrate with us this very prestigious evening. Just to remind you that the SAMRC's mission is to advance the health of individuals in the country and their quality of life, and it does so by conducting and funding research. Research that tends to be responsive and relevant to the diseases in the country. And I'm very much pleased to see that we've got so many partners who are with us in this journey to accomplish that mission. This is not about the MRC, this is actually about the recipients of the awards this evening, and I'll hand over to the chair again.
Thank you so much, Prof. Not bad for on the spot. I really appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, our Platinum Award winner tonight, none other than Professor Andre Pascal Kenge. Won't you give him a big round of applause? This is his story.
Professor Andre Pascal Kenge is a specialized physician, internal medicine, chronic non-communicable diseases, epidemiologist and preventionist. He holds a PhD in medicine from the Sydney University, Australia. Professor Kenge is the current director of the South African Medical Research Council Non-Communicable Diseases Research Unit and holds co-joint appointments as Professor of Medicine, Department of Medicine, Faculty of Health Sciences at the University of Cape Town. He also holds a position as Extraordinary Professor of Global Health at the Department of Global Health at Stellenbosch University. He is also a visiting professor at the Instituto de Salud Global de Barcelona, IS Global, Barcelona University, Fellow of the African Academy of Sciences, Member of the Academy of Sciences of South Africa, ASAF, an Honorary Senior Research Fellow at the George Institute for Global Health, and an honorary senior research fellow, Julius Center University Medical Center in Utrecht. His research focuses on non-communicable disease, epidemiology and prevention, with a major focus on cardiovascular disease, diabetes and metabolic diseases, chronic kidney disease, comorbid non-communicable diseases in people with HIV, disease risk modeling, prognostic and diagnostic research, and implementation research. Over the course of his journey, he has co-authored numerous peer-reviewed articles, book chapters and monographs on chronic diseases in Africa and at a global level. Professor Kenge, immense contribution to research, has earned him multiple awards and recognition from local international bodies, including the Sir Alberti Award for Excellence in Research on Diabetes in Africa, the SAMRC Gold Award for Scientific Excellence, the International Society for Hypertension Research Scholar Award, the Georgi Award from the George Institute of Global Health, the Jerry Bundimsky Award. He joined the South African Medical Research Council in 2011 as Director of the National Collaborative Research Program in Cardiovascular and Metabolic Disease. He was reappointed as Director of the Non-Communicable Diseases Research Unit in 2013, which is his current position at the South African Medical Research Council.
Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Andre Kenge, great to have you with us tonight, sir. We have allocated more time for our Platinum and Presidential Award winners, just saying.
Thank you so much, MC, and good afternoon, everyone. I think I'm not standing here.
There we go.
I'm not standing here today only on the account of my own achievement, but perhaps most importantly on behalf of the many great people who over the years have contributed in many respects to what I am currently scientifically. So I just want to use the next few seconds to acknowledge a number of them. I want to start with my mentor in Cameroon, Professor Jean-Claude Mbanya, and through him, a number of colleagues in the country who have been part of this journey. I want to mention here Eugene, Pachal, Leopold, and many others in the country. Professor Mbanya is someone, it's this great man who 28 years ago, and by then I was still a fourth-year medical student, had this idea that I could perhaps have a future in research. And just moved from there and started involving me in research in many capacity, allowing me to play a critical role even before subsequently learning the theory of what I was doing. He didn't end there. He also introduced me to his network of friends, allowing me, for instance, to be able to receive world-class training in research in Australia under the mentorship of great people such as Professor Stephen McMahon, Professor John Chalmers, Anushka Patel, or Mark Woodward, just to mention a few. That also allowed an opportunity to start creating my own network to support my research in future, including with outstanding people like Professor Gruby or Professor Moon in Utrecht. And while in Australia, far away from Africa, that's also where I got connected with a great man from Africa who was the catalyst of my coming back to Africa after my training and to become my mentor once in Africa. And I really wish that Professor Mayusi was around to share this time with me. Then in 2009, 2010, one great organization had this crazy idea of recruiting me and propelling me to the rank of a unit director, research unit director, and therefore allowing me to come back to Africa in a position that has allowed me, I would think, to make a contribution to the global research endeavor on NCD. And I'm forever grateful to the South African MRC for this opportunity and the ongoing support. During my time at the MRC, I've maybe achieved a lot, but I've been able to do so thanks to the collaboration of colleagues within the organization, within the country, and more globally. At the MRC, I must say I've been so fortunate to be leading a very dedicated group of people. And I'm so proud that one of those actually was already on stage here to be acknowledged for our own achievement. Nashita, you've been an architect and a great catalyst of the success of the unit I'm currently leading. And through you, I also want to acknowledge the many colleagues in the unit Gillian, Cindy, Erica, Debbie, Tanya, everyone, including all our talented students. And outside MRC, I think I owe my success in research in this country to two great friends, Professor Tanji Matcha and Professor Rajiv Erasmus and their team, who simply adopted me when I joined the country and opened the door for me to join the great work they were doing in the mixed ancestry population. And over the year, we generated evidence to support the health of this population. And last but not the least, I want to acknowledge my family, my family in the African sense of the word. My two kids, my two daughters, Jacqueline and Charlene, their mother, Sophie, my wife. To all these people, I want to say, you've just been exceptional. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Kenge. Thank you, Prof. Mahlangu. Definitely a theme coming through in family. And I love the way you used the word adopted me. It's just, you're part of the family. So great that you're back in Africa. And thank you for the work that you do and continue to do. Glenda, do you want to come up on stage and announce our final award for tonight? That is our Presidential Award. I'm going to actually ask you to give us a little bit of insight into that award and to not only just to whom, but to why it has been awarded. Glenda.
So thank you. First of all, we acknowledged Croatia and Slim in their absence when they came. We accept that there was load level 4 load shedding, and so we accept you for being late, but it's great to have you with us. And I'm sure, Slim, you are quelling with pride when you see this, how the MRC has grown. And we have to acknowledge you for revitalizing and reinstituting the scientific awards. So I want to say thank you for that, and glad to have you in Croatia with us as patrons and comrades of the MRC. And I just want to say, I'm just looking at the awards and the journey of the MRC and how we got here. I'm incredibly proud to see how wonderful science has proliferated in South Africa and how we've moved us from infectious diseases to non-communicable diseases, and the kind of great work that we're doing, and to have Ambrose and Tulio and Tobacco and more pediatricians. I have a special soft spot for pediatricians, being a pediatrician myself. So it's just wonderful to see clinician scientists coming through. And so I'd like to, as the Presidential Award was actually established by Slim, and Malakapura Makhoba was the first person to get the Presidential Award. And many other illustrious scientists have got it since then. Jerry Cavadia, Debbie Bradshaw, Jimmy Volmink, who's there in the audience, Mark Sateche, real stalwarts of people that traverse both science and policy and operate at a level that deserves special recognition. And so I'd like, as the next Presidential Award, I'd like to announce that Kaleka Milasani is the recipient of the 2022 Presidential Award. And she comes from our same vintage, and maybe that's why I chose you. You know, she comes from our same vintage, the 1962 vintage, of which Linda Gell, myself, and Kaleka of them. You know, Slim, you lost out here. 1962, Year of the Tiger. That's us, you know. And so it's wonderful to be able to give Kaleka this Presidential Award. She's a friend, a colleague, a comrade, and a fellow scientist. And we've worked together since we were young, early aspirant scientists. First of all, in HIV vaccine trials. So Linda Gale, myself, and Kaleka ran the first phase 3 HIV vaccine trial on the African continent. And we're still running them, but anyway, it was the first one. And so I want to acknowledge the kind of work that you've done then. And then as a collaborator in HIV prevention, working with Slim to follow a cohort of HIV-infected women where you identified the potent neutralizing antibody that will hopefully one day be part a cocktail of prevention strategies. And so it's very nice to see you there. And then later, as we grew older, your role at the NHLS and my role at the MRC. And then again, our paths crossed again as during the COVID-19 pandemic. So Kaleka, you've made huge impact on health in South Africa. Not only have you committed to policy and administration, but you've also advanced scientists in South Africa, supervising PhDs, MScs, MMeds, in addition to maintaining your own academic science career while being the head of the academic affairs, research and quality assurance at the National Health Laboratory Service. That takes a special kind of woman to be able to navigate all those spaces. And you know, we need to acknowledge that as a science administrator, you were able still to mentor and capacitate young students and as well as publish as well. So that is an amazing thing. And you did this and with publishing without a murmur, 200 publications. And so it's really great. And so this award is to acknowledge not only the work that you've done in science in South Africa, but also the role that you played in the COVID-19 pandemic, making sure that diagnostics were running and establishing that, navigating the whole diagnostic space, which was, as we remember in the early parts of the pandemic, were quite terrific as we struggled to find reagents, and then becoming the co-chair of the MAC after Slim's quite rightly said, you know, he was ready to move on, and you know, you were the rightful person to co-lead this. So we want to acknowledge you for that. So as I've mentioned before, you know, Kaleka, Linda Gall and I are from the same vintage, 1962. We are 60 this year. Can you believe it? We are 60 this year. We are coming of age, you know, alongside many other friends and scientists. And it's wonderful to be able to acknowledge a long-time collaborator such as this. So Kaleka, I want to say that you are truly a science warrior. And I'm glad that your son is here with you. I want him to hear that his mom is a science warrior, true science warrior. And today you receive this award for your commitment to science and service, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. So thank you very much.
Professor Koleka Mlisana has over 40 years experience in health sciences and is a pathologist medical microbiologist by training and current executive manager of academic affairs, research and quality assurance at the National Health Laboratory Services, or the NHLS. Earlier in 2021, she was appointed by the then Minister of Health, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, to take over as co-chair of the COVID-19 Ministerial Advisory Committee, or the MAC. However, neither were the positions of leadership nor the MAC a new territory for her, as she has chaired the subcommittee on pathology in laboratory since its inception. She also serves as a member of the MAC on antimicrobial resistance. A pathologist, medical microbiologist by profession, Professor Mlisana's fields of research and area of expertise include HIV/AIDS, focusing on HIV prevention and pathogenesis research, which has revealed how the body responds during acute HIV infection. She has vested research interests in TB diagnostics, antimicrobial resistance, as well as sexually transmitted infections. In the 1990s, she was part of the group of scientists researching the devastating unknowns of HIV, looking for answers even as the virus kept claiming lives. Professor Mlisana was head of the HIV pathogenesis and vaccine research program under the Center for the 8th Program of Research in South Africa, CAPRISA. Her research focused on understanding the body's response to acute HIV infection. Those years of being a scientist were about doing her research while constantly having to synthesize a flood of new information. It was also fighting a ticking clock, dealing with denialism, stigma, taboos, and then political delay when antiretroviral treatment was prescribed. Professor Mlisana's journey to becoming the country's first black microbiologist began when she received her MBCHB and later her MMed microbiology from the University of Natal, before proceeding to pursue a PhD in medical microbiology at UKZN. Being the Executive Manager Academic Affairs, Research and Quality Assurance at the National Health Laboratory Services, Professor Mlisana is thankful to the South African Medical Research Council for the role they play in enhancing research within this specific environment, especially taking into account the enhanced support offered to the historically disadvantaged academic institutions in bolstering their research capacity and development.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening, everybody, colleagues, friends, and everyone who's out there who's watching, because I know there are quite a few who are. First, I really want to start here. I really do want to thank God, because I believe my faith and trust in Him is really what becomes a compass of whatever I do in life. And so I really want to start there. And then secondly, I want to thank my family, my husband, my 3 children, the youngest is here, for their support. And I've got a lot of other children and family. But I think just, looking at my family, especially the one who is here, he is the one who now and again would walk into the parents' bedroom and finds both mother and father on 2 different computers. And more often than not, would find the mother sleeping on her computer. So he developed this technique of taking it out of me without disturbing my sleep, because they all complain that I work, into the late night all the time. But I really want to thank my family for their support, and my husband for allowing me actually to, just do whatever I wanted to do, even though I know now and again I get scolded for not taking care of myself. And then the rest of my family and friends, really, for their support. And I know I've got, these people who are always behind me. At the same time, I feel to have such family and friends, it also keeps me on the straight and narrow, because I realize just how many people are out there, cheerleading me, but at the same time looking up at me as a role model. And that therefore forces one to make sure that you keep it at that. And then, to come to the scientific world, I really want to thank everybody. I mean, as Glenda says, we now have become friends. But whenever I look at my research life, and I say this all the time, anybody who actually would have asked me, even 5 years ago, where I would be, there is no way I would have known that I would be where I am right now. And when I look at the support and the mentorship I have had in my career in research, the first people on my list is always Slim and Croatia. And actually, I'm glad that you guys are here today. I know I do say this to you, but really I want to highlight this, because for me, I remember the first, as a doctor, you said you're giving us time. As a simple doctor who then did microbiology, and then I bump into Slim, and Slim, in fact, he saw me coming out of MRC, at the medical school then, and he says, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And I said to him, "Oh, well, I'm this monitor for this study." "Oh, I didn't know you like research." And then a few months later, he then gives me a call, "Come to this meeting, come see and listen to what we're doing." So I walk into this meeting, typical Slim, there might be 300 of you in a room, and you each introduce yourselves. And he gives you time to do that, and then he tells you what to say, that you need to tell us who you are, what you're doing, and what you're going to be doing within Caprisa. And I'm like, he didn't give me this script before. Then it comes my turn, and I say, "Well, I don't really know why I'm here. I was invited to come and listen, and lo and behold, the rest is history." I was part of Caprisa, and really the doors that were open for me, I definitely am so sure I wouldn't be where I am. And it taught me what collaboration, how important collaboration is in research. And I've tried to live that. I met, through that, working with Caprisa, came through Lynn, Morris, Carolyn, Williamson, Glenda. You saw the four of us. One time we were co-chairing one of the scientific international meetings. And I think following that, it really taught me that if we want to make any difference in this country, we really need to make sure that we groom as many scientists as we can. And I've really tried to live that. And so this also goes, to all my students. And they know, they always say I put pressure on them. It's because of the pressure that used to be put on me. And I really just think one of the key things that I learned much earlier in life, I may not necessarily, be doing it that often. Once you become 60, you get to, you lack a few things. But really for me, excellence has been the best in that I believe if you really put your all into whatever you do, you can achieve anything at any time. You just need to make sure that you put your, you do the excellent thing. And I always say to my students, if you don't do it well, what are you really keeping that for? Why are you not putting your all, whatever you're reserving? When are you going to express your fullness? And I think that's how we can really make a difference in this country. So really, I would like to thank, thank the South African MRC. And this award, it really, truly goes to so many other people who have supported me. And I also wouldn't want to not to mention, when I started at Caprisa, there are 3 particular friends, that I worked with. One of them is Francois van Lochrenberg, Irene van Middelkoop, and Tola Benny. And I'm mentioning specifically Francois and Irene because as an ordinary doctor, actually, we still laugh at this today because Irene, when I came in, had to teach me what a spreadsheet looks like. How to manage a spreadsheet. I had to be taught what a protocol is. We were busy writing this protocol, and it was so overwhelming because most of the times as clinicians, it's only now that actually there's been a lot of teaching research for clinicians, but it never used to be there before. So computers, whatever I know, I can actually beat my children now at computers. It is because of what they really taught me when I started at Caprisa. So really it's just, this goes to everybody else who has contributed to what I have become and what I can really just hope. For me, the last thing is right now, the little that I can do is to just make sure that I make an impact on each and every young person who comes my way, whether it's at, at work generally now as an NHLS, AQUA executive, or in research, that we can really build the next generation of researchers that are going to understand and excel in science. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Professor Kaleka, sure. I wonder if the presidential award qualifies you for the presidency. Eh? Wouldn't it be great to have a president like that who speaks with such passion? And I just loved what you said about why don't you just give it your all? Why do you give something that's mediocre? So thank you for giving your all for all of South Africa. Let's give our presidential award winner another big round of applause. Thank you, Prof. You did have me a moment ago, though, when you said my son or my child walked on his mom and dad. I'm like, doing what? And it was, okay, thankfully falling asleep on their laptops, because I was just like, where are you going to go with that story, But how wonderful. And so glad that you could join us tonight. 1962, wow. The 3 of you, that's impressive. 1960, the Cuban Missile Crisis. What else happened in 62? Marilyn Monroe, Bob Dylan, the Beatles, Spider-Man. There's some interesting people coming out of the 60s, 1962 in particular. But ladies and gentlemen, I think our chairman of the board said it best when he said, tonight's not about the SAMRC, tonight's about the scientists. Tonight's about the people that have really put in the hours and the effort and the dedication, the unsung heroes, to really make a difference in the lives of so many South Africans. In years gone by, ancient Rome, they used to have potters, 2 kinds of potters, those that made pots that when you put them in an oven, they cracked. And what they would do is they would fill those cracks with wax. Couldn't see it with the naked eye, it looked like a good pot, but as soon as you put that pot into an oven again, the wax would melt and the pot would be rendered useless. And then there were potters who made fine pots, no cracks. And they had a sign above their pottery store that said, Sine Cera, without wax. And so tonight I think we want to end by just saying thank you without wax. A sincere thank you for being those genuine people that really make a difference in a world of influencers. And everybody wants to be an influencer. Why? When you can be a scientist who really makes a difference in people's lives. So from a clinician who's not a scientist to all the clinician scientists, the scientists and the researchers, thank you for what you've done for our people and for our country. God bless you guys. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Thank you. And with that, dinner is served. I'm not sure about our guests that are online and watching virtually. I hope you're getting dinner. And whoever's in charge, it's about time. But for us that are here in person and in present, you have a lovely dinner prepared for you. I've just been asked by Mandy to remind you there's a wonderful gift awaiting everyone that leaves tonight. So please don't leave without getting a big gift. Just to say thank you for being here tonight. We look forward to seeing you next year. Slim, I must tell you, when I stood up and you just arrived, the sun was shining literally on you. I stood up and there was one person with the sun on you, and I went, there he is. So glad you could join us too tonight. From my side, good night. God bless. Drive safe, guys. Thank you so very much.